Welcome back to Bulletproof Mindset, your go-to podcast for health, fitness and entertainment. And today is our final episode. There is a final lesson I want to leave with you guys, and wanted to do this as a closing chapter or a closing episode to this final chapter, which is Bulletproof Mindset. So first things first, I want to say a massive thank you for anyone that tunes into this episode. Some of you guys have been here since episode 1. That's nearly 300 episodes. You've seen the highs, you've seen the lows, you've seen the changes. And I wouldn't think that this is where this podcast would have ended up. I had very much different plans for where I wanted to go with the whole health and fitness business, my coaching business, and that sort of just evolved. And I want to kind of share those lessons as to what my thinking is or what my thought process is behind it. And hopefully for any of you guys out there that is on your own journey, whether that's your health and fitness journey, whether it's your business journey, whether it's your coaching journey, then there's something that you can take away from this episode. So as I said, first things first. Look, a massive thank you. Podcasting to me was something I was always going to do. And albeit it started as a journey with a co-host, and the whole point of it was to give value to anyone that was on the health and fitness journey, that quickly evolved, or I wouldn't say quickly evolved, but that evolved in the later episodes to become things that you can do to become better mentally, and that would transpire into the physical activity, and then also transpire into your business development, your career development, or whatever that may be, family development, relationships. It's sort of tied into everything. One thing I started to really, really enjoy was the solo episodes and actually interviewing guests. I always really like to bring guests on the show, and that's something that hopefully you could see through the interview style that I had. I had a lot of you guys message me saying that you really liked how some of the lengths of the episodes I know could be extremely long, but I think they were fitting, especially with Jerry's episode, for example, for someone to sit down and just give them the space to talk about their story. I honestly loved that, because within everyone's individual story, there's always lessons and nuggets of information that sometimes we already know, but it's good to hear it from a different perspective. So the Bulletproof Mindset podcast was a health and fitness podcast to begin with. It was health, fitness and entertainment, and I'm sure we delivered on the entertainment side of things for the first 150 odd episodes or whatever it was. That then became a pivot and became a solo venture for myself. And I still like the idea of having the podcast as information that I could put out there and point my clients towards. And then I started doing the interviews, as I said, and it sort of just grew at arms and legs. Now, I said this as an update on a previous episode that I would be stepping away from coaching to run the business side of Bulletproof Studios. And I think the lesson I want to share here is there is just evolution. You think you'll do something forever, and I'll be the first to admit this. I thought to the day I die, this would be something I absolutely do. I'm going to be coaching people. I'm going to be helping people with their health and fitness. But it's sort of evolved and has grew into this the other side of things to run it with Jill, with my wife, to actually run the business operations, which is the game of marketing, I guess, and helping other businesses with their marketing strategy to get more leads and all that sort of stuff. Now, that I might have lost a lot of you guys who tune into this, which is totally fine, but the simplicity side of things is the one from a top line, like revenue and the monetary side of things, there's more opportunity in the studio side of things. Now, I've always said that's not the be all and end all, but that it absolutely plays a part. And when you look at the work that would need to go into the health and fitness side of the business versus what goes into the studio business, the work effort's the same. I still do 14, 15, 16 hours a day. I'm still always researching. I'm putting a lot of time, energy and effort into it. Now, whether I do that in health and fitness or whether I do that in the studio business, the input is the same. The output, however, is very different. And both have absolute potential to reach a financial goal if you want to tie it to that, or as I'm tying it to that. But one has a longer horizon. One is going to take a lot longer, and one doesn't have the same fulfillment as the other. There's pros and cons to this. Like I find it very hard just now to have conversations with people when they talk about fitness, and I have the urgency to jump in there and want to help them out. But on the flip side of that, one of the most important things to me is my family, my wife, the life that we live, the relationship that we have, the things that we do. And for her to come over into the mindset side of the business or the coaching side of the business, it's never going to happen because it's not something that she has any desire or interest for. But one thing that we do have commonalities or a common passion or desire for is this whole art of running our own business, the whole art of marketing. And that's really where the pivot is coming from, because that is more important to me than anything. There is, I think, if you rank priorities, health and fitness absolutely plays a part, and I love the idea of helping people, coaching people, being a role model to some extent as well. That did that my bucket was filled doing this health and fitness journey, but I can do all those things that give me that same fulfillment on this studio side of the business. Now, what I would say to you guys is I think a lot of you guys are on your health and fitness journey. There's some of you guys who run your own business. Some of you guys are in a career that you're working up the ladder to get more rewards financially or whatever. And what I would say is, like, don't be too tied to an outcome. That's probably the biggest reflection I've got looking back at this short journey that I'm on so far. It's like 3-4 years. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I've no idea what these next 6 months are going to look like for me, as a business operator, or what we do in the studio side of things. But I am extremely excited, and I can look back and I know for a fact that one of the reasons I've not made the decision up until now, because it's been so hard to let go of something that I love and hold so dearly to my heart. Like, you cannot, like, I think I'd done an episode on the math of the time that got put into the podcast episode. So it was like well over like 10,000 hours. And that's not even to factor in the research, the studying, the client results, all that sort of stuff. Like, I think 400 odd clients I've worked with on a one-to-one basis. And then there's a chunk of people who have downloaded the workout programs, the free programs, the free advice, the YouTube. There's so much that goes into this, or so much time and energy that has went into this, and to let that go has been the hardest single thing I've had to do. And it's one of the reasons it's taken me almost 13, 14, 15 months to do so. Jill came into the studio business last June. She quit her job and came in here fully came into that side of the business fully. And we had big plans on what we wanted to do with the studio business, but it became like, okay, you run the studio, I'll run the fitness business. And we were like passing ships, and we had all these great ideas, but not took action on it because we've been separated, or our time has been separated on that part. And it's now time to join that together. So I felt it was only right to do a final podcast as a bit of a farewell message, a thank you message, and just like, it's been fun. It's been so much fun. There's that whole saying. I think about this actually when I've said in previous episodes that when the podcast started out with myself and James, and like, those times were so fun because you didn't know, there was no sort of massive expectations. And this is the same for life. Like, you don't know you're in the good times until the good times have passed. And these certainly have been good times, but I know for a fact there is better times in the future as well. Or not better times, there's more good times to come. And I'm excited for this pivot. So this episode is short and sweet. It's a bit of a thank you. I love you all so dearly. So thank you so much for the support, for the time, and hopefully my biggest, the reason I would do this in the first place is so you could take some nuggets of information, you could take some piece of advice and apply it to your own journey, whether it's your relationship journey, your health and fitness journey, your mindset journey, your career journey, whatever that may be. Hopefully this podcast has provided some sort of value in that front. And I just want to say, like, a massive thank you from me. What's happening next is an all-in approach to Bulletproof Studios. And with that, there is another podcast that is going to be released, or has been released, should I say. Now, the reason I didn't just change the name of Bulletproof Mindset into Bulletproof Studios, as I said, because a lot of you guys listen to this for the health and fitness content. The audience that was built on this was health and fitness, entertainment, and then all the other kind of subcategories that came off the back of that. So the Bulletproof Studios podcast is something both myself and Gillian are going to run together. We're going to bring other businesses on, and it's going to be very heavily focused on the development part or the marketing component of business. And basically that's just a fancy way of saying, how do you get people to buy from you? That is what marketing is, and that can be done in so many different methods. And we want to reach out and bring on other business owners and interview them in a similar style of what we did on this podcast here. So I didn't want to just change it and then kind of piss everybody off who've listened to this for health and fitness, and they tune in, they're like, why is there health and fitness episodes on episode 200, but then we're in episode 300 and here we are. And what's going to be cool about this exercise is you're going to see how we build a business from scratch, basically. It's effectively starting from zero. We started as a podcast studio, and now it's this kind of evolution of an actual marketing partner for businesses that they can bring on board to grow their social media following and grow, more importantly, their business leads and operations or inquiries. So I'll not spend any more time on that. But if you are interested in that side of things and you want to support that side of things when it comes to the journey, or you're interested in following that journey along, everything's going to be posted on the Bulletproof Studios page. So the Bulletproof Studios Instagram page, which is Bulletproof Studios __. There is a new podcast and a new YouTube channel, Bulletproof Studios is the YouTube page, and the Spotify is just Bulletproof Studios. If you search that, it should come up. I'm going to leave a link below this video where you can click out to. And yeah, look, if you want to follow my personal journey, I'm always going to be involved with fitness. I am very much addicted to challenges just now, to pushing the limit, the physical limits of where I believed was possible. And you can see all that madness on my personal branding page, which is Not So Coach Crossar anymore. It's sad, actually. I found this obviously I'm going to be very emotionally attached to this side of that side of the business, or that side of my identity, who I was. And that's why I done that previous episode on some of the challenges that I was finding. And I was kidding myself on try to keep this podcast going, but not being involved in health and fitness. It has to be a clean cut, because if I want the studio thing to be successful, I need to go all in. All my time has to be dedicated towards that. And that may seem selfish, and I've tried to be. In fact, previous episodes we spoke about on this podcast that you need to be selfish, which is ironic, because me personally, I would rather be selfless and give to those of you who've been on your health and fitness journey, which is why all these episodes were free, why we done free workout programs, and why there was an option to eventually come on board and work for us. But yeah, this is a selfish pursuit, and yeah, sometimes you got to be selfish. You need to go with your heart, and as I said, my heart is definitely the biggest priority for me is doing or building a business with my wife and making sure that we're looked after, and kind of go all in on that. So again, big thank you. We'll wrap it up there. For the final time, I've been your host, Coach Crossar, or Not So Coach Crossar anymore. Thank you for all the support over the last 2 years, over the last 200 odd episodes, nearly 300 episodes. Most of them, they're always going to be there. So the advice is very unlikely that advice is going to change. So listen to them, consume them as many times as you want. And yeah, hopefully I will see some of you guys over in this next chapter. But again, a big thank you from me. Take care. One final message I'll leave you on is, no matter what you do, whether it's you pursue your career, you pursue better in your relationship, no matter what category or subcategory you fall into when it comes to that, it is all underpinned by your health and our fitness levels. It's all underpinned by resistance training, becoming stronger for a healthier and happier future. So regardless of what you do, just remember, one workout a week can keep that. One resistance training workout a week goes a long way and impacts all these other areas of life. And with that being said, I will see you guys soon.